Good morning, everyone. Today we will discuss the second part of our previous lecture on alkene complexes. The previous lecture we discussed different type of alkene complexes and what are the important structural features of the alkene complexes, and we were discussing about the bonding and structure of alkene complexes. So we will continue that in today's lecture as well. So the structure, or you can see the bonding in the alkene complexes, it can be studied by the application of LCAO-MO method. That is when you study the molecular orbitals of both the metal and the ligand by linear combination of atomic orbitals. And when you go for the correlation diagram, so in one of the lecture we discussed about the correlation diagram, and we have seen that when the orbitals of two reactants, if they are closer together in the energy, then you can see that the product formation is feasible or the product is a stable one. So the application of this LCO-AO method, this can be done for the complexes of transition metal with unsaturated molecules, and we can do that in the three steps. So how we can do that? Firstly, the first step would be one has to pick out the valency atomic orbital of the atoms in the molecule under consideration. So suppose what is the molecule under consideration? We are talking about the transition metal alkene complexes. So we have to consider the valency atomic orbitals of transition metal as well as the ligand. So since we are putting our emphasis on the alkene part, so we will consider the valency atomic orbitals of the alkene molecule, that is the p orbital. So we will go for the pi bonding and pi anti-bonding molecular orbital in case of the alkene, and the valence atomic orbital of the metal. So for example, in the transition metal alkene complex such as disol, this example has been repeated so many times. So Xi salt, very important compound, PTCl3 and one alkene molecule here. So the metal valence atomic orbitals. What are the metal valence atomic orbitals? 5d, 6s, and 5p. If you write the electronic configuration of this metal ion, this is not pure metal, right? You have to calculate the oxidation state of the metal, and then according to the oxidation state of platinum, you have to write down the electronic configuration of the cation, not the metal atom, right? So once you write down the electronic configuration of this platinum cation, then you will be able to find out what are the valence atomic orbitals. So in case of platinum, they are 5d, 6s, and 5p. Now the ligands may have sigma and pi valence orbitals. So sigma we are not considering them because they are lower energy atomic orbitals, and pi are high energy atomic orbitals. So these are the valence orbital in case of our ligand. So in case of alkene, the valence orbitals are composed of sp2 hybrid orbital because the carbon double bond is present in them. So whenever double bonded carbon is there, it is always sp2 hybridized, right? And one p orbital is free over the carbon atom. So these sp hybrid orbitals, they will form the sigma bonding and anti-bonding molecular orbital, and the MTP orbital, they will form pi bonding and pi anti-bonding orbital. So pi valence orbitals are 3pz. So these pz orbitals are basically the empty orbital available on each of the carbon, and these two pz orbital on each of the carbon in ethene, one in phase linear combination, they will give molecular orbital that covers the entire molecule. So in phase linear combination, it gives the bonding molecular orbital and it covers the entire molecule. Like you have seen in the previous lecture, we have a banana like structure over the ethene molecule, and that banana shaped orbitals they are the in phase linear combination, or you can say the bonding molecular orbital, pi bonding molecular orbital of the ethene. So in the first approximation, the energy or electrons in this pi orbital has a value considerably lower than that of the any other pi electron. So if we are talking about the pi electrons only, then the bonding molecular orbital will obviously have the electrons in their lower energy state, right? And always they will go first to the bonding molecular orbital. Whenever you start filling the electrons into it, so where the electron will go, it will go to the orbital which is lower in energy. So the bonding molecular orbital of ethene contains the pi electrons. Then the next higher energy molecular orbital is formed by the subtraction, or you can say the out of phase linear combination, and that also we have seen they are the pi anti-bonding molecular orbital. So how an anti-bonding molecular orbital is formed? By the out of phase linear combination. So this is the LCAO-MO method, and we have applied this on the ethene molecule several times, and we have already seen what type of molecular orbitals are formed on the ethene molecule. So again, the two pz atomic orbitals are involved here for the formation of the pi antibonding and bonding molecular orbital. When there is in phase linear combination, we get a bonding molecular orbital which is having lower energy, and therefore all the pi electron goes into it. And out of phase linear combination, it results into the formation of anti-bonding molecular orbital of ethene, and it is always empty. So now, what is the second step? Now, in the first step, we have already identified the valence atomic orbital, and we have applied the LCAO method, and we have seen what are the valence orbital available on the metal atom, metal cation, and the ligand molecule. So once you have identified the orbitals, valence orbital, the orbitals which are going to take part in the bond formation. So after identification of these orbitals, the second step is what? It involves the process of constructing suitable linear combination of valence atomic orbital for the molecule. So now the molecular orbital will be formed by LCO method. A knowledge of the molecular symmetry is required. Like we have seen earlier in earlier lecture that molecular symmetry plane, they need to be the same. Whenever we are performing the LCAO method, the molecular symmetry should be maintained. And then we will do what? We will combine the atomic orbital to form the molecular orbital. Finally, the molecular orbitals are placed in the order of their increasing energy, and then you correlate the orbitals of metal and ligand. The advantage of a molecular orbital approach to metal ligand bonding is that we can picture the filling of molecular orbitals with the electrons in order of their energy and irrespective of the origin of the electron. So it does not matter where my electron is residing, whether it is residing in the sigma orbital or sigma star orbital or pi star orbital. When we have molecular orbitals with us, when we are combining the atomic orbital and forming the new molecular orbital, then the electrons, the total number of available electrons, they will be filled according to the energy of the orbital. So first the electron will go to the lower energy orbital, and then they will go to the higher energy orbital. So that will be the order of the filling of the electrons. So in this manner, we can understand the bonding and structure of the transition metal alkene complexes. So several studies have been made using the X-ray crystallography, and the data obtained from that data we can draw some general conclusions. So what are these conclusions about the metal alkene complexes? What are these general conclusions? So the first conclusion that we can draw from the X-ray crystallographic study is the carbon-carbon bond length in the alkene is increased on complexation. So this point we have seen when we were discussing the IR spectroscopic data about the metal alkene complexes, and we have seen that when the IR frequency of the C double bond C was observed, a bathochromic shift was seen, and that bathochromic shift was due to the increase in the carbon-carbon bond length. So that is also confirmed by the X-ray crystallography, and we know that when the alkene is in the complex form, when it enters inside the coordination sphere and it is forming a bond with the metal atom, then what will happen? Now the pi electron density is lesser available with the carbon atom, and now what will happen due to the lesser availability of that electrons, now the carbon-carbon bond length increases, or you can say the strength of the pi bond in case of C double bond C, the strength of pi bond is now reduced because now the pi electrons are donated to the metal atom. So what will happen when the double bond character of the atom increases or it decreases? What will happen now? The bond length will increase. When the bond strength increases, the bond length decreases, and when the bond strength decreases, bond length increases. So you can say that there is overall decrease in the carbon-carbon double bond when it is forming a complex with the metal atom. The second very important conclusion that could be drawn from these experimental techniques is the planar alkene molecule becomes non-planar on complexation with the substituents bonding away from the metal as well as the other ligand. So, if you see a free alkene molecule, it must be having a planar structure. Why? Because the carbon is sp2 hybridized, and we know that in case of sp hybridized molecules, sp hybridized carbon atom, what should be the structure? It should be planar structure. So, but when the complexation takes place with the metal atom, then what will happen? That sp2 character of carbon is now decreased, and therefore the planarity of the molecule is lost. So once the alkene molecule enters with bonding with the metal atom inside the coordination sphere, its planarity is lost, and the alkene molecule is away from the metal as well as the other ligand. Like in case of Zysol, we have seen that the metal atom and all the three chloride ligands, they are towards the one side of the complex, and the alkene is directed towards the one end of the complex. So that also the alkene molecule is no longer having a planar structure. So this is the case. The planarity is lost as well as the alkene molecule is away from all the other components of the complex. Then the third point is the carbon-carbon bond is perpendicular to the molecular plane in 16 electron molecules of the type Ml3 alkene. For example, the Zysol. Especially if we talk about the complexes like the Ml3 alkene, where we have three ligands, they are similar, and one alkene molecule attached to the metal atom. Then what will happen? That CC bond, it will remain perpendicular to the molecular orbital in the 16 electron molecules. So 16 electron is why? Because the complex is having 2 electron lesser than the 18, and therefore they are having total 16 electron, and these two electrons less than 18, they are provided by the alkene molecule. So it has been seen that the carbon-carbon bond remains perpendicular to the plane of the molecule, and especially this happens when we have the complexes of the type Ml3 alkene. The last conclusion that could be drawn is the carbon atom of the ligand alkene molecule are symmetrically situated. They are equidistant with respect to the central metal atom. So if the metal atom is combining to an alkene molecule, you cannot say that the carbon number 1 or carbon number 2, which one is near to the metal. They both are equidistant. So since both carbon atoms are equidistant to the metal atom, generally what is said for such complexes that the carbon atom is attached to both the metal atom is attached to both the carbon simultaneously. You cannot say that it is attached to only one carbon atom. Or this type of bonding is what? This is multi-center bond. You cannot say that where my electrons are localized, where the bonding is localized, but rather you can say both the carbon atoms, especially in case of the eta 2 molecules, eta 2 type of ligand, both the carbon atoms are equidistant from the metal atom, and therefore what happens? There is formation of a multi-center bond. Then here you can see the structure of the Zeiss salt, which I was telling you. These are the three chloride ion, Ml3. M is platinum, L3 is suppose C chloride, and alkene. Alkene is my this alkene molecule is ethene. So this is two carbon atom, and these are the four hydrogen atoms. So as you can see here, the planarity of the molecule is lost, and this alkene molecule it remains perpendicular to the plane of the complex as such. This is the Xy salt structure, and here the bond formation takes place with one double bond. Okay, so uh, in the alkene complexes we can have monoene. Monoene is when the bond formation, the metal alkene bond formation is between only one double bond. Okay, only one double bond is involved, then we call it what, monoene. Now they can also be like diene. Diene, like you can see here in this figure, diene is two double bonds are involved with the in the bonding with metal. So my ligand is cycloocta 1,5-diene. Cycloocta 1,5-diene. In short form, it is known as COD. So nickel COD twice. So you can see here the nickel atom is combined with the two double bonds of each of the COD. So this is a diene type of alkene complex. Okay, two double bonds are available with the ligand, and they both are connected to the metal atom. And two such ligands are involved in the bonding. So we have this nickel COD twice. So this is the type of diene complex, and the second category we can also have a triene complex. Okay, so triene complex also exists. Like here in case of cycloheptatriene, we have three double bonds available with the ligand cycloheptatriene, and you can see in this complex of molybdenum, the three other ligands are carbonyl, and the molybdenum is connected to each of these double bonds. Okay, so here in this case, you cannot say that suppose if this is my carbon 1, carbon 2, carbon 3, carbon 4, 5, 6, 7. So you cannot say that the molybdenum is combined to carbon number 2 or 3, or you cannot say it is combined to 4 or 5. So it is simultaneously combined to carbon atom 2 and 3, 4 and 5, 6 and 7. So here a multi-center bond is formed, and they are what? They are triene type of alkene complexes. So all the available double bonds are involved individually with the metal atom. So this was the case of a different type of alkene complexes. Then let us move towards the reaction of such complexes. What are the common reactions performed by metal alkene complexes? So first, let us discuss the chemical properties of the alkene complexes according to the alkene. So many of the properties depend upon the alkene molecule present in the complex. So for the metal atoms, alkene are weak ligand. Hence, they can be replaced by strong ligand like cyanide, triphenyl phosphine. So because the alkenes are very weak, they can be easily replaced. So first type of reaction could be when the alkene is replaced from the complex. है ना? When a stronger nucleophile attack on the metal atom, then what will happen? Then the alkene will be replaced. So these would be the first type of reactions commonly known for metal alkene complex, where the substitution of alkene takes place by a stronger ligand. Then the second important feature about such complexes, after coordination with the metal, the electron density in the pi bonding orbital decreases. So when the electron density has become low in the bonding orbital, but it is increasing in the anti-bonding pi star orbital, and what will happen? As a result of this, the alkene molecule is activated. Why it will be activated? Because the electron density is more in case of anti-bonding orbital, and the anti-bonding orbitals are having higher energy as compared to the bonding orbitals. So bonding or earlier the electrons were present in the bonding molecular orbital, right? Pi MO will contain was containing all the 2 electrons, but after the complexation with the metal, now the electrons are also present in the anti-bonding pi star molecular orbital, And these high energy electrons, if they are present on the alkene molecule, then they will do what? They will activate the alkene molecule. They will be available to perform reaction very easily because they have high energy. So these activated alkene molecules, they take part in the different type of reactions, and most of them are very important for the industries as well. They have commercial applications. Then the eta-2 alkene complexes give many products using the nucleophilic reactions. Why the nucleophilic character of the alkene molecule? Like we have seen, in case of metal alkene complexes, what happens? The alkene is donating its pi electron density to the metal atom. So overall, you can say that there is decrease in the electron density. So when the electron density on the alkene is decreased, now there will be development of a partial positive charge on the carbon atom. When it is not there in case of free alkene, right? The free alkenes are known for their electrophilic reactions, electrophilic additions. But when the alkene is in the combining with the metal atom and present inside the coordination sphere, when it is formed, it is forming a complex. So in that case, what will happen after the complex formation? Now the properties of alkene molecule is changed as compared to its free state. Now the alkene molecule will show nucleophilic reactions in place of electrophilic addition reaction, and that is due to change in the property of carbon. Now the carbon is having a partial positive charge, and therefore it will attract a nucleophile to come. So these are the different type of characters of such complexes, and according to these characters, you can study the different type of reactions of the metal alkene complex. Let us move forward and look towards the stoichiometric reactions of transition metal alkene complexes. So stoichiometric reactions, they are following the stoichiometry, and what are these reactions? So first of all, let us see the nucleophilic attack on the eta-2 alkene complexes. When a nucleophile attacks over such complex, so what happens? Generally, what happens when the nucleophile is stronger than the alkene itself, then it will replace the alkene. So the first category of reaction is those in which the nucleophile displaces the alkene. Displacement of alkene takes place. So alkene is thrown out of the complex and the coming nucleophile takes its place. Like in the scheme 1, you can see these type of reaction where the nucleophile is displacing the alkene molecule. So in the center of this diagram, you can see the Zy Okay, and in the Zy we have alkene here, C2H4. This is my ethene molecule present inside the coordination sphere. Here you can see different type of nucleophile. They are attacking the complex like H2O, C2Da, CO. This is substituted ethene, then RNH2, then again the substituted ethene, CN, that is cyanide and triphenyl phosphine. And these all type of reagents, they are nucleophilic in nature. They are stronger nucleophile as compared to the alkene molecule. So now you can see here, uh, when the carbonyl attacks, this carbonyl will replace the alkene, and one carbonyl is inserted in place of this alkene. Similarly, when the substituted alkene RC double bond Cr, when it will attack, this will again displace the alkene inside, and it gets attached over the platinum ion. And similarly, RNH2 is inserted here, but obviously it is not that strong that it just replaces the alkene molecule, so it replaces the chloride. Then again we have a substituted ethene. This substituted ethene comes inside the coordination sphere and takes the place of alkene molecule. Then the attack of cyanide, very strong ligand, and this will also replace the alkene molecule. And because this is very strong ligand, it will also replace all the chloride ligands as well. So all the chlorides with alkene, they all are replaced by cyanide. And now in the product we have 4 cyanide ligand attached to the metal atom. Similarly, in case of triphenyl phosphine, we have one alkene and one chloride replaced by the PR3 ligand, because it is also a strong nucleophile, so it also replaces one chloride along with the alkene molecule. And then we have this water molecule attacking over the lysol. So this will do what? This will get inserted inside the coordination sphere. It will not replace the alkene, rather it will replace one chloride ligand. Then C2D2, this will replace the alkene molecule. So these were the reactions in which the nucleophile displaces the alkene. In these reactions also, in the scheme 2, you can also observe the similar reaction for the ruthenium complex. And here you can see the ruthenium complex. We have a bridging chloride ligand. This chloride is bridging between the two ruthenium, and we have two alkene on each of the metal atoms. So we have two such ruthenium, sorry, rhodium. This is rhodium. So we have two such rhodium metal atoms, and they are having two bridging chlorine, and on each of the rhodium you have two alkene molecule attached. So again, let us see what will be the result of a nucleophilic attack. Like in case of PR3, again it will do what? It will replace the alkene molecule, the 1,5-COD. COD, the full form COD we have just seen, if you remember. So this will again replace the COD, will replace alkene because it is stronger ligand. The bridging chloride will be there again, and when the carbonyl will attack, again it will replace the alkene molecule. But when butadiene attacks, this is the butadiene molecule. Okay, so it destroys the bridging nature of the chloroligand, and now what will happen? One butadiene is attached to the rhodium in the product, and there is no bridging chloro present here. So this was the scheme 2, in which the nucleophile displaces the alkene molecule. Then we have the nucleophilic attack, the nucleophile attack the metal, but it displaces the ligand other than alkene. So of course, a nucleophile is attacking, but it is not displacing the alkene, rather some other ligand is getting displaced. So again, you can see here we have a rhodium complex, and we have two alkene molecule attached to it along with cyclopentadiene. So when SO2 attacks on it, this SO2 displaces one of the alkene molecule, and when the carbonyl attacks here, it gets attached to the rhodium, and again the alkene is displaced. So such type of reactions are also common. Then we have a nucleophile attacks at an alkene carbon of the alkene. So alkenic carbon is the carbon that is present in the alkene ligand. So attack takes place on the ligand itself. So here you can see the ligand itself, it is totally replaced by the incoming ligand, and again when the CH3C triple bond C, this is some acetylene, you can say substituted acetylene molecule, and it also gets inserted inside the complex in place of this alkene molecule. Similarly, you can see here in this complex, the M could be different metal ions and L could be different ligands. So if my M is palladium and Ln are the triphenyl phosphine, then in presence of sodium methoxide and methyl alcohol, what reaction takes place? We get the methoxy group attached on the alkenic carbon. So alkenic carbon get attached with the methoxy group, and this type of complex is generated in which we have a PPH3 inserted inside, and the alkene molecule is actually having methoxy group. So reaction take place on the alkenic carbon. Then in case of ammonia, when my metal is a tungsten, and the ligand is again triphenyl phosphine, again what happens here? The alkenic carbon has reaction over it, and NH2 group is inserted on the alkene carbon. Then again, if my metal is iron and ligand is carbonyl 2, so the nucleophile is what? CHCOOEP twice, and PPH3, that is triphenyl phosphine. So when it attacks over the ligand, what will happen? The alkene molecule will react with the nucleophile, and it is removed from the complex. So alkenic carbon actually reacts with the nucleophile. This was steam 5. So all these reactions are very important in case of metal alkene complexes, and you should write all these reactions in your notebook in order to remember them. So it should be a general practice whenever you are attending a class, you should take a notebook and write down all the reactions that are going to be displayed on the screen. Now, moving forward, we will see the reactions involving the metal alkene intermediates in homogeneous catalyzed reaction. So homogeneous catalyzed reaction, they are commonly known for many industrial processes, and uh, because they are homogeneous catalyzed, so the catalyst should be in the phase of say similar to the reactant. So in such a type of reactions, the metal alkene complexes, they are behaving like a catalyst, and as a catalyst they are helping the reaction to get complete. How they behave like a catalyst in such reaction. The consequence of alkene metal interaction include the lowering of the electron density of the pi bonding orbital. So what happens here? Like we have just discussed, the electron density of the pi bonding orbital is decreased, and increase in the electron density of pi anti-bonding molecular orbital. So after the LCAO, what happens? The bonding orbital will now have energy lower than the p orbital, and anti-bonding will have energy higher than the p orbital. Now, if the higher energy orbitals are having the electron density, so these electrons will be activated. So, like I told you, when alkene is in the complex, alkene is attached to the metal cation and it is in the form of a complex, then it will be activated. So, the overall effect of the alkene coordination, a metal center brings about the excitation of alkene pi bonding electron to the pi level, result in the activation of the alkene molecule, which tends to undergo a wide variety of reactions. And generally, these reactions are of great industrial importance. So this activation of alkene molecules, this property of the metal alkene complex is that the alkene is getting activated so easily. So this property can be used in many industrial applications when my metal alkene complex is behaving like a catalyst. So what are these reactions? Like in case of the hydrogenation reaction, we have this rhodium catalyst involved, which is known as Wilkinson's catalyst. So in case of this catalyst, now you can see the alkene molecule is getting inserted over the metal atom here, and then it is removed by the when the hydrogen is transferred to the alkene molecule and its hydrogenation is completed. So this is the reaction again of a metal alkene complex where they are behaving like a where a catalyst is involved. So this is the Wilkinson catalyst. Then we have hydrosilylation reaction in which you can see it's a silicon. This is not S, this is Si. So SiCl3Pt. Here what happens? So the silicon uh, SiR3, that is trialkyl silyl group. So this trialkyl silyl group, it gets inserted over the metal atom along with the alkene, and then the silica is transferred to the alkene. So hydrosilylation is completed here, and the hydrocarbon with the silica atom is attached. This product is formed. Then carboxylation reaction where the carbonyl group is going to be added over the alkene molecule. So again, they are the reactions in which we have a starting compound. The starting compound have added the alkene molecule as well as any other group, and that group will be transferred to the alkene molecule. So in case of the carboxylation reaction, this is the carbonyl group, and when it is transferred to the alkene, in the product we get some ester. This is the ester product formed after the carboxylation reaction of metal alkene complexes. And similarly, we have hydroformylation reaction. So in the hydroformylation reaction, uh, again the alkene molecule is inserted. It is getting attached with one of the carbonyl, and then HCO group is transferred to the alkene molecule. So this is the formation of a hydroformyl, or you can say aldehyde group inserted over the alkene molecule. Now, moving forward, we have oligomerization reaction. So we have now oligomerization reaction, and in this reaction you can see oligomer. Oligomer is when the two alkene molecules they are uh, getting added over each other. They are formed. So we have RHCl3, and when the halide is taken, the metal halide is taken, and the alkene is inserted in presence of HCl gas. So two alkene molecule you can see they are inserted over the metal atom, and after the reaction they are added together to form a added product. This is the oligomerization reaction. Two alkenes are getting inserted over each other. Similarly, we can see the isomerization reaction. So in the case of isomerization reaction, again we have a rhodium complex here. The alkene, it is getting attached to the metal atom, and then a corresponding isomer is formed in the product. So you should remember all these reactions. These are really important, and when you write them yourself in your notebook, you will came to have a good idea about them. The last is the dismutation reaction. So in case of dismutation, what happens? This is the molybdenum carbonyl compound. The alkene bond is inserted with the metal and on both the side. And now what will happen? The redistribution of electron takes place. And now the product is what? CH2 double bond CH2 and CH3 CH double bond CH3. So the double bonds are shift from this position to the this position. So this is the reaction which is known as dismutation. So these were the all reactions about the metal alkene complexes, and in the eta 2 category of ligand we have alkyne as well. So these alkynes are also considered as the eta 2 type of ligand. They are capable of donating two electrons to the metal. However, they have two pi bonds present over them, and they are at the right angle to each other, and therefore it is much easier to form a complex of metal and alkyne, because now we have two pi bonds available for the metal atom. So out of the two pi bond available in the alkyne, either only one or both they may be donated to the metal. They can donate one or donate two. So the reaction of the alkyne with different transition metal species can occur in different ways. And in the simplest cases, the alkyne replaces only one 2 electron donor ligand from the original compound. So even if it is having two pi bonds, but it behaves like a eta 2 ligand or dihepto ligand. So in these, only one of the two pi electron pairs of alkene take part in the reaction. Only one pi bond of alkyne is involved. So metal alkyne complexes, they are easier to form because we have two double bonds available, but most of the time only one bond of the alkyne it takes part in the bond formation. Then simple alkyne complexes, they are similar to their alkene analogs because in most of them only one double bond is used. So similar to the Zeiss salt, we also have an acetylene complex. So in Zeiss salt we have uh, PTCl3 and alkene, right? So in the analogous acetylene complex, the acetylene molecule is linked in place of the ethylene molecule. So here you can see we have uh, X3, or this is L2. Okay, so platinum RC triple bond Cr. This is my alkyne, and this is my other ligand, and minus charge. It is what? This is analogous to Zeiss salt, but the acetylene is present in place of the alkene molecule. The structure of these complexes are also analogous to that of the alkene complexes. So in these complexes, one of the dsp2 hybrid orbitals of the metal links with a pair of electrons from pi bond of Rc triple bond Cr. dsp2 hybrid orbital of metal and pi bond of one pi bond of the alkyne. They overlap together to form a stable bond. Now, there is one difference also. The alkynes are more electronegative as compared to the alkenes, and therefore they tend to lose their proton very easily. So, therefore, what happens? They are comparatively stronger pi acceptor when it comes to the back bonding with the metal atom, in which the metal will donate its electron density to the empty orbitals of the ligand. In that case, what happens? The alkynes are more effective as compared to the alkene. And why this is so? Because they are more electronegative in nature as compared to alkene. So when the metal will donate the electron density to the alkyne, they will accept it easily, and the bond formation, the back bond formation would be more easy in such case. So we will discuss more about the alkyne in the next lecture. Now a few questions for you, and this time you need to carefully look at the question and you will attempt these questions by yourself. So the first question for today is: the polynuclear complex obtained as a result of reaction between the carbonyl of this iron and PHC triple bond CPH, that is diphenyl acetylene. So what would be the product of this reaction? So you have to find it and you have to write it in your notebook. Then the second question for today: in alkyne complexes, the bonding is represented according to which method? So again, you need to find the answer, and we will discuss this in the next lecture. And they are analogous to which complex? So this we have just discussed. The alkyne complexes are analogous to which complexes? Then the third question is: alkyne molecule behaves as both. It has two characters. And what are these two characters? The alkyne molecule is behaving like two species. So what are those? Then the fourth question for today is: during the reaction of nucleophiles with alkyne complexes, the nucleophile either links with the metal atom in which state, or links with the proton or alkyne in which state? So these four questions you have to solve yourself, and we will discuss them in the tomorrow's lecture. That is all from my side for today. Thank you so much.